I got a phone call on the morning of October the 9th, and the hospital in Norfolk had called and said that Codey was in a bad accident. All he could tell me was that he fell down the steps. The doctor's telling me, you know, it's a serious accident, and I said, okay, I'm on the way. It was probably the worst morning I've ever experienced, especially when I got to the hospital and actually seen the extent.
When Codey first admitted to us, he had been in an acute care hospital for roughly 3 months. He'd been very, very sick. Codey had had a craniectomy as well as a craniotomy. This is a procedure that is done to relieve swelling in the brain. He was in what's called a minimally conscious state.
He was unable to maintain arousal, so unable to keep his eyes open for a long time. He was unable to follow commands. He wasn't able to move any part of his body purposefully to do any type of task. He wasn't able to hold his head up or the rest of his body up when sitting unsupported.
I met Codey when he first was admitted to the traumatic brain injury unit, and I took care of him throughout his stay. But wound care was an integral part of his care. We make sure that wounds are monitored when they come in on admission and throughout their stay. It also helps prevent infection and actually helps the patient progress.
When working with Codey to try to engage him in therapy, we initially just tried to use a lot of stimulation. We tried to use visual, auditory, tactile, smell, all of the different forms of stimulation that we could provide him to try to increase his arousal and engagement in therapy. We also talked with his family a lot to find things that were meaningful and purposeful to him prior to the accident. So he loves music and he loves video games. We did a lot of co-treats with music therapy, using piano and drums.
Good job, Codey.
And then we also worked really closely with recreation therapy, which allowed us to use adaptive video game controllers to help him engage in that activity.
He benefited tremendously from overhead bodyweight support technology, robotic technology, and the therapists pick and choose those tools like any other professional picks and chooses the tools that they use. The most powerful tools that we brought to bear for him were in many ways the more humble things and not the $1 million robotic equipment. But for Codey, music therapy was a very potent pathway for him to start to develop some ability to both interact with the therapists and of course his family too.
There's not just one music processing center in the brain, like there are distinct processing centers for other brain functions. So this means when an area of the brain is affected by an illness or an injury, we can often still access those impaired brain functions when it's paired with music, which makes it a valuable tool for improving neuroplasticity, strengthening old brain connections, building new brain connections. We started by just improvising. I would put on a beat and play a chord progression on the guitar, and he would just improvise using one note at a time. And he gradually started exploring a wider range of the keyboard rather than just a few notes. And I also over time started to notice him playing within a key. He'd play melodies, he would resolve his melodies, and he'd play the same melodic patterns. And it also gave us a lot of insight into his decision making and his visual processing, his reading comprehension, because he was still not able to verbally communicate with us.
When Codey started with outpatient therapy, he was definitely physically at a lower level. He had reduced mobility, he was non-ambulatory, he was unable to stand without high levels of physical assistance. He also required assistance to maintain his sitting balance as well.
When we first began working with Codey, he was almost completely nonverbal. So he was able to say a few words clearly, but most of his speech was not clear. Our goals changed pretty rapidly for Codey. He made such quick progress. I've never seen anything like it. Now that he's progressed, we're able to do a little bit more challenging activities. So we'll go into the core gym, into the ADL suite, and we'll use the Bioness bits. It is a computer-based brain training technology that we have here at Sheltering Arms, and he really loves it. It keeps him challenged, it's engaging. I can add in other skills with it, such as balance as well. I can increase the difficulty pretty quickly using that technology.
One thing that's unique about Codey is with the really significant progress he made, how much we had to update those goals as he improved. As he progressed, so did our technology usage. All right, so we switched from robotics and different e-stim bikes to things like the Vector, the body weight support system, and just allowing him to do a little bit more as he continued to get stronger and better able to walk, stand, all of those sorts of things. And then even on top of that, we started using things like the C-Mill, our virtual reality treadmill, which is something that he was able to work on his endurance, his coordination, his balance, while training, all of his walking as well.
The equipment and technology that they have here is just amazing. I have never seen these things prior to this, but I know that these are the reasons he is doing as well as he is.
Hello, my name is Codey Wells and I'm 22 years old. My therapists make me feel important and they make me feel capable of meeting all my goals. They're the wondrous people I've ever met.
One thing we really like to do, especially in outpatient therapy, is make it a part of what the patient enjoys doing. And specifically for Codey, one of those was football. He played football, always enjoyed it.
Yes, every time I come here, I ask him like, oh, do you want to throw the football?
We try to integrate that into his rehab to not only make things salient, but help him enjoy the process and get the most out of his rehab journey.
If I had to describe Codey in one word, I would describe him as resilient.
I think the first one would be positive. I don't think I've ever seen Codey with a frown on his face. He is about as upbeat of a person as you'll ever meet and has the most contagious personality. And another word would be motivated. He will try and do whatever he needs to do to improve himself.
He's also very determined and he loves working hard. He loves a challenge.
He's resilient, he's impressive, and he's creative.
Words cannot express the happiness and the joy when I do see him when he comes to visit, how well he's doing, and that really lets us know that we did our jobs as nurses and caretakers.
Codey's care team was amazing. His nurses, care techs, doctors. He has built relationships with his therapists. He absolutely loves them. All of them felt like home. The way he was when he came here to the fact that he's walking around these halls now is just all thanks to everyone here.
They're angels and I love them.